to particular movements in, say, South and Southeast Asia, we have, of course, lots of forest movements, the forest dwellers. And one of the episodes that I mentioned is the episode relating to the movie Avatar, right?
Yeah.
Now, it is apparently, and I went to Cambodia to the Prelang forest area. Well, I didn't quite go to the area, but a lot of the tribal and the hill people communities, those tropical forested communities of the Prelang and Priyavihar and those kinds of places had been agitating in Phnom Penh, the capital, for many years because there was so much deforestation and dam building in Cambodia, often with a lot with Chinese capital, but also a lot of other Southeast Asian and Asian capital that had moved into those forests. And, as you know very well, that region is also dominated by Buddhists, and Buddhist monks have been among the leaders to help these people uh, conserve their forests, to preserve their livelihoods. And they started this project of robing trees, right? And ordinating them so that to fell a tree would constitute some kind of sacrilege. And this, by the way, also, of course, was what started off the environmental movement in India in 1972. You will recall there was the Chipko movement of women who were hugging trees when the deforestation was beginning to take place around that Himalayan region. So this kind of community resistance is very visceral and tangible, and because it directly affects their livelihoods much more than any other. And so, but to go back to the story of avatars, which is now a kind of a global phenomenon, uh, the Cambodian communities which I have studied, they used to arrive in the big square in Phnom Penh and demonstrate using traditional techniques of with their musical apparatuses, worshipful rituals, petitioning, and so on, to demand the stoppage of this deforestation. And but for a long time, people would just sort of watch them, and that was it. It was like kind of a spectacle, a show. But then when the movie Avatar appeared in 2010 or so, 2010, what happened was certain Indian tribal groups in India, certain Latin American communities, indigenous peoples in Bolivia and so on, began to adopt the role of the Navi people in the movie Avatar. Those blue beings is what we can call them, and began to restage their demonstration as a performance of the status of the Navi people in the movie Avatars, and they began to be called Cambodian avatars or Dongrak avatars in India or Bolivian avatars. I don't know what the specific word for the indigenous people there in Bolivia is. And this was electric. I mean, when they would paint their faces and include their whole spectacle of performance and supplication and so on. And this drew, as you know, Cambodia has lots of in global environmental NGOs, but also drew the entire youth community across the nation of Cambodia and NGOs, local, global, and national, to actually create some kind of conservation and protection, which these communities themselves began to undertake. For about 10 or 12 years, this has been successful, uh, although things are maybe backtracking again. So this was an example of the kinds of movements that are taking place everywhere.